Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. In today's video, we're not necessarily doing a Blitz tier list, but we're going to be doing a Blitz update after week one of skirmishes, and it's kind of starting to get in a Blitz season. I wanted to do kind of like a tier update on like where I think heroes are going and where they've been, or where they're not going and stuff like that. Like what heroes are on the uptrend, right? What ones look like they could be really good. What ones are no change, what ones are trending down, as you can see. So like I did a tier list here. It's into trending up, trending down, undervalued, overvalued, and no change. So I just want to kind of go through this, give my thoughts on like how skirmish season's going so far, kind of where things are at. I made a tier list like a couple weeks back, or like 2 weeks back, and that tier list already is substantially different than what I thought it would be. Just kind of some short-sightedness on my part. So like I'll talk about that as things come up. But yeah, we'll get right into it. For the first one in Kano, I think Kano is honestly no change. I think Kano, most people would have put Kano in like some people put Kano in the S tier, some people put Kano in an A tier, right? Some people even put Kano in a B tier, but the general consensus is that he is either a low tier 1 or high tier 1.5 deck. I would say tier 1.5 is more realistic, and that really hasn't changed in the first week. He hasn't had the success that you would like him to have, right? He hasn't been played quite as highly as like other heroes, as I'm looking at my notes here. But overall, like he's having decent success, but he's almost in the trending down category, maybe, because it just depends on who you talk to. For me, I always had him like in the low A tier. Anyway, so I think he just kind of stays there. He's still a hard hero to play and play correctly. So his win rates, I think you can't look at as much, just because with him, like you can't just pick up a Kano deck, even as powerful as it is, and play the deck and win. And then with Oldheim being an issue, and Viserai like having a lot of blues, even though it's a bad matchup into Kano, it still can pitch away the arcane pretty well, depending on how much AB they run. Just kind of a no change for me. For Dash, she's definitely trending up. A lot of people are loving the shotgun, freaking ham, go crazy Dash that just boosts every single freaking card and hits with her shotgun at the end of her turn. She's very difficult to deal with if you don't know how to play around her. The problem is she decks out very easily if you just value block, especially with all the Viserais and Oldheims running around. Like it's not hard to block her out and then just kind of chip away and either win the normal way or deck her out. But regardless, a lot of people had her at like low D tier status, and I definitely think she's not there anymore. I think she's like a C tier hero right now, maybe even B in the hands of a really skilled pilot, but I think she definitely has trended up. For Azalea, I'm just going to put no change. People aren't expecting a whole lot of her. You have the Azalea and Ranger fanatics in a good way. I mean that, like, love their hero and they really respect her, and she definitely can do some good things with some of these dominated arrows, and she has a lot of cool new arrows like Fatigue Shot and stuff like that. But overall, just not quite as good as she needs to be, and I think she's still a no change. Viserai, so Viserai is no change because everybody knew he was going to be good, but he's technically trending up because so many people are playing him now. He is the most played hero by a large margin. Everybody knew he was good, but I at least didn't expect the amount of people playing Viserai, even as good as he is. He's definitely the best deck in the format overall, in my opinion. I would say, I know his win rates aren't as high as like other ones, but to me, like you can't take win rates into account with Blitz as much as you can with CC, because you're getting a lot of new players. You're getting a lot of casual players like recording their games, and Blitz in itself is just naturally like more inconsistent with how much you win because of such low life totals, people hitting swing turns, stuff like that. So you can't really account for win rates in Blitz. Kasai I think she's kind of okay, so I'm gonna put Kasai. So one, I think Kasai is trending down in my opinion. I think people are starting to realize like there's ways to play around her, at least in my opinion. I know she has a very high win rate, one of the highest win rates in the format. I get it, but I think I've said this before in my videos. Warrior is a class that punishes you for not knowing how it plays. Not knowing the cards, not knowing play patterns, not knowing like win conditions, stuff like that. Once you figure that out, Warriors become a lot less scary, at least in my opinion. With Kasai, with Blitz, because Oldheim and Viserai are so high in the format, and even Dorinthia is doing really well, I think that if you can prevent her from making copper for the first 2 turns, or at least even a little bit of copper, while also like chipping away, you win. Because if she gets blood on her hands and she only has 1 or 2 copper, she can't really do much. Like she needs that OTK format. I put her as like top tier, no one's touching her, S plus tier on my last tier list videos. You can roast me for that, and that's totally fine. But the more I've played against Kasai, granted I'm playing Viscerai, but the more I've played against Kasai, like the more I realize that you can play around her win condition pretty well. Definitely still a good deck, definitely a tier 1 deck, but I think it's a little overvalued right now, and that's just my opinion. Caverdine, no change. I'm not going to talk about. I don't play Caverdine. I've never played against. I played against Caverdine one time. It was a meme game. The other merchant's not on here. I can't say his name. Genis. Is it Genis? I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Same thing with him. No change. For KO, KO's definitely trending up. Doing really well. KO is definitely a high roll deck, right? You either can OTK on 1 turn, or it's a big feels bad because all your attacks get diminished. But overall, definitely trending up. Definitely a high level deck that you're going to be keep seeing. For Benji, definitely trending down. It sucks. I had Benji high on my list at first. And now it's a little bit harder because Benji is just with all the Runeblade running around, all the Guardian and all the Warrior, like there's so much equipment block now that it's hard for him to get his pop-off turns consistently. I think the only version of Benji that really plays really well right now is like the stall, like block out until you get your right turns. You chip away when you can, right? Block with 2 or 3 cards in the hand, attack with a 2, attack with a 4, whatever. And chip, and then wait till you get like a Razor with Spring Tidings and like try to pop off the next turn. But even that style, Benji isn't doing amazing. He's still placed in top 8. He's still doing decently well. But his win rate is pretty low. But I also think a lot of people don't play him a whole lot and know how to play him properly. I think people are either just using like all go again cards that are 2 or less with him, which isn't going to work consistently, or they're trying to do the wrong term. They're doing the very hard to play like Flood of Force and like Break Tide line combo, which again you can do, but it's not consistent. It's just really hard with him, and he's definitely trending down for me. Shiana, no change. Not going to talk about it. Never play a Shiana against a Shiana. Never going to probably see her in a competitive event. That's just my opinion. Data Doll is a no change. Not much has changed with her either. I haven't really played against her that much, so I can't really say anything. Ira is a trending down for sure. Not as bad as Benji, but definitely trending down. She's not the hero of the format anymore, right? She's definitely still viable, still good, but I think if you play her, it's going to have to be the kind of aggro-y deck. No flick flacks, no sigils, no sinks. Literally just going nuts with her. Block maybe 1 card from hand, maybe 2 if you could swing it, and then come back in with like 6 to 10 damage, similar to like a Dorinthia playstyle. That's the only way she can keep up with some of these decks is kind of go more of an aggro format. For Dorinthia, I think Dorinthia is in the undervalued category. People see my Dorinthia gameplay and then also my deck. I think Dorinthia is amazing. The fact that I can block for 6 to 8 every single turn and still come back with 6 to 10 damage myself every single turn, and then also wait till I do a pop-off turn where I'm doing 15 plus damage with 3 hatchets. Like, it's just a really good value. Even Dorinthia, for me with Viscerai, like I've beaten a couple of Viscerais with Dorinthia solely because like the value that I get early game is just so nice. And it's pretty insane. And her play patterns are pretty easy to understand. She's an easy hero to pick up and play. Just a really undervalued deck. I like the Hatchets build, but the Dawnblade build is also very good. So, and it's probably honestly the best build, just slightly. It just kind of depends. Dawnblade is like higher ceiling, lower floor, where Hatchet's like higher floor, lower ceiling. So like Hatchets will give you this line of consistency all the time and won't really drop, but Dawnblade will give you a little bit more, but there's sometimes Dawnblade will drop below Hatchets, right? So like it just depends on what you like. For Rhinar, he's trending up. I see a lot of people playing Rhinar. He's doing pretty well too. Not too bad. Kind of like right in the middle of the pack. But I think people knew the deck was good, but I don't think people were picking it up as much as they should. And now people, I think, are starting to realize like if you triple intimidate someone turn 1 or even quadruple intimidate them and hit them for 15, the game's over. So it's pretty nuts. Definitely a trending up deck. For Bravo, I wouldn't say he's trending down because he's not really trending down. I'm going to say trending down, but not because he's not a good deck. I'm just surprised more people aren't playing him. I guess, I don't know. I think he's trending down solely because of use, not because of ability, if that makes sense. Definitely a trending down hero. He's not getting the love he deserves, in my opinion. He could be an undervalued, but I don't think he's undervalued. I think people know how good the deck is. It's just not being used as much. Katsu, no change. He's just bad. Won't even talk about him. Oldheim is technically no change because he's still a really good deck. One of the top decks in the format. People know it, and people are playing him constantly. He's pretty much the third most played deck behind Kasai and Viserai. Just really good. Lexi, I'd say Lexi honestly is undervalued. I think Lightning Lexi builds are really good, like really good. And you could even do like the Voltaire Ice Lexi build still too. I think she's a really undervalued. I know she doesn't have a lot of equipment block, but there's certain cards that people are starting to put in, like Take Cover and stuff like that, that allow you to, have a little bit more defensive value while also, using your reload ability. So definitely an undervalued deck. Breyer, I think Breyer is, so it's really hard. So my initial answer is no change. I will say Breyer's being a little bit overvalued right now. She's being put, including me, she's being put in a lot of top tiers, and she's really good, but I think she has some inconsistencies at times, even in the splits format right now. I think people are trying to be a little bit too cute with her, and you still use the channel build or still use some hybrid-ish build, when I think the Plunder Run-ish Lightning style build is still the best build for her in Blitz, even with Oldheim walking around. I don't know. I think she's a little bit overvalued right now. I think her inconsistencies in comparison to some of the other top decks is just a little bit too much for me. But I know it's a little bit of a weird take, and I understand if you disagree with it. Valda, I think Valda is trending up in use case. I didn't expect her to be played as much as she's been. I'm not saying she's a good deck by any means. I say she's trending up in use, not in ability. Similar to how Bravo is trending down because of how much he's being played or how little he's being played. Valda's being played more than I thought she would. I thought we might get like one or two Valdas, but I've seen a good amount of Valdas being played. So she's trending up as far as popularity, I guess is the best way to put it. Icelander, same thing. I think Icelander honestly is trending up. She's being used a lot more, and people are starting to realize how good that deck actually could be if it's played correctly and piloted right. It's definitely not like a tier 1 deck by any means. I think at its height, when it's piloted super correctly, it's like a tier 1.5. But when it's not piloted right, it's like a tier 2, tier 3. It just depends. Prism, no change. Not really relevant in this format. Bolton, I think is undervalued as much as I don't like Bolton. I think he has pretty good mid-range value in this format. He's still not as hard-hitting as some of the top decks, but he definitely has a use case for sure. The biggest undervalue in the format right now is Chain. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Chain is a tier 1.5 deck, a solid tier 1.5 deck. He's the second best Rune Blade in my opinion. He's better than Breyer, I think, because he has the ability to stall and play for late game. And in this game, we have a lot of hard-hitting decks. I think he can do really well and then come in late and really have some issues. He struggles against Oldheim, and I get that. But against Kasai and against Viserai, he can hold his own. And I think it's just and I don't see anybody playing him. Like, he's one of the least played decks in the format right now, and I don't understand it because he's definitely a tier 1.5, maybe a top tier 2 deck. So, like, why is he not being played more? I don't get it. I don't understand. I know Viserai is a better Rune Blade right now, and maybe that's why. Maybe it's because any chain players went and played Viserai, which makes sense. But overall, just super undervalued. Levia, no change. She's just bad in Blitz. So I feel bad for saying that, but that's just how it is. But yeah, this is my overall list. Nothing too crazy. Really just kind of give a quick snapshot of where I'm looking at as far as like where heroes are trained up or down. It's not really meant to be a tier list. It's more of like the state of the meta and the feeling of Blitz right now. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. If y'all agree or disagree with anything, totally fine, totally get it, no worries. I'll be doing these, trying to do these every once in a while just to kind of get my thoughts on it. I have the Battle Hard next weekend in Dallas, so I'll kind of give my my video about that and say how it went and how everything happened. Hopefully I do well. But yeah, hopefully y'all have a good rest of your day. Let me know what videos y'all want to see in the future. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to. If not, go to another Fleshbug career, do the same thing for them. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get somebody seeing this game, get more people in it. And yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in to TCG Talk. I'll talk to y'all next time.